critical the criteria for the appointment of the officials into INEC, that is the chairman and the commissioners. I know this has been a very hot issue. People believe that whoever is appointed serves the purpose of the master, as quoted. But unfortunately, I think so many things have happened that will make you actually know that, well, it is not always so. So over the years, the National Assembly has remained committed to advocating for electoral credibility in Nigeria. While the power to nominate the chairman and members of INEC is vested in the President, the National Assembly has the responsibility to screen and approve such nominees. The Senate and the House of Reps Committee on Electoral Matters will work together to ensure a transparent and accountable screening process for nominees. In line with the commitment, we urge civil society organizations to submit their observations and concerns to the clerk of the Committee on Electoral Matters at the National Assembly. We assure you that all significant and non-partisan concerns regarding nominees will be thoroughly reviewed. As Situation Room established credibility threshold for the 2027 general election, I want to reaffirm our committee's commitment to ensure that all the deliberations and outcome of this of the Institution Room will be adopted. But practically, let's look at what has actually happened over the years. On election day, no electoral officer, INEC staff, is actually involved in the election. We have only the ad hoc staff that works on the day of election, and they are your children. The NYSC staff, they are the people that are actually involved in the election on that day. So even if you know the INEC chairman, you know the REC, you know the EO, they cannot help you on the election day. And I always give the example of Jega and President Jonathan. President Jonathan engaged Professor Jega, and at the end of the day, he didn't win the election. And I must tell you, although I won't wish it to happen again, the last election, the Senate Committee Chairman and the House of Rep Committee Chairman on Electoral Matters, who designed the last electoral hat, didn't make the election. That means your influence does not have anything to do for you on the day of election. Nowadays, to a brilliant politician, you know the fear of beavers is the beginning of wisdom. Those days have gone where you manipulate the number of votes. Beavers has come to stay, and this is the first time we are having a credible accreditation system. The accreditation is the most important aspect of our electoral process, because if you cannot be accredited, you cannot vote. If you can secure your accreditation system, that means you cannot have more than the number of votes accredited. So I believe we should put our concern into how we are going to enhance and empower this system. Electronics application, technology in voting, these are areas we should put our concentration more on, and probably also reduce the influence of vote buying.
Elections credibility starts with the credibility of the agency that is charged with the responsibility of conducting the elections. If that body lacks that credibility, then it's unlikely to offer us any credibility in the process. So we consider this a very serious issue to flag up at this moment in our political history, and hope that as vacancies have occurred at INEC, we will be able to fill them up with people who are competent, people who are neutral, and people who would be standing up to the qualities that we require.
But the absence of partisanship is so very crucial for election management. And I think that in the discussing what the criteria should be in Situation Room, formulating a threshold document and outlining the threshold for appointment into the commission is so very, very important. We have only a few months to the first announcements to be made by INEC regarding the notice for elections, which means that preparations for the 2027 elections needs to be already at top gear. Quite a number of national commissioners are going to be due for completion of their term in only a few months. Left to me, I would actually even suggest, and this is not born out of anything other than national interest, that those whose tenures in INEC is due to expire, I think, October or November, should actually resign ahead of that date. And this has nothing to do with anything other than really to provide the opportunity for new memberships of the commission so that they will have enough time to prepare for the 2027 general elections. It's unfortunate we have lost a couple of experienced persons in the commission, including Festus, but the truth really is that for the country to prepare, and there's a lot of preparations to do, I do not still think that this country has a credible voters register. I do not think that the voters register as it exists today is credible enough. We saw the examples going on, and I'm not commenting on the issues regarding the failed Natasha recall. But if you have a 450 registered voters in her senatorial district, and only about 40,000 voted, you can see the difference. Less than 10% voted. And then you are coming up with 250 persons who are supposedly signing a recall process. Then you would see that the arithmetic doesn't add up, so to say. And I'm not commenting on the issue at all. I'm just simply saying, using that as an example to draw attention to the nature of voters register that we have in the country. For you to prepare a voters register, and a lot of us were involved with Professor Tahiru Jega when he was first appointed in 2010. We had to think with him because I was part of what he called his advisory team. We had to think through how to advise on creating a new voters register, how to achieve this within a couple of months before the elections that held in April of 2011. So given what it is, I do not think that there is adequate time for an almost entirely new commission to be appointed in October or November and still have them well prepared for the elections.
Because this event is timely, especially just yesterday, it was in the news that the House of Representatives has approved 39 bills for consideration in the ongoing move to amend the Constitution. And when we want to amend the Constitution, because some of the things we are discussing here has to do with the Constitution and the constitutional amendments. Before now, there was a time when the Constitution said, before you can be appointed into INEC, you must be qualified to be elected. And some people see that as me saying that you must belong to a political party. But in the previous amendment, I think that aspect was amended. But the problem is, even at that, there are still allegations that some people appointed into INEC card-carrying members of political parties. So I think there's a need for us to be very strategic in this aspect of, because it is an open secret, that the tenure of the current INEC chairman is most likely going to expire this year, and some of the national commissioners. So Nigerians should now be shopping for a new INEC chairman and national commissioners. So I think this is why it is very necessary for us to look at the type of person or persons we are going to appoint into INEC position. But we in IPAC believe that there is a need for us to go to take a step ahead of this one, or further. Because no matter the type of person you appoint into INEC, we believe that with the power to appoint into INEC is still residing with the president, it might be difficult to get the type of elections that we desire in this country. Maybe this is why there's a need for us to revisit the report of the Justice Ways Committee that has to do with the appointment of people into INEC. I think as the National Assembly members are taking a look into the Constitution, maybe there's an aspect that they should look at critically. The appointment of people into INEC, maybe that power should be completely taken away from the president. It's a common saying that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. And not only that, I think INEC should be taken completely out of the powers of the purview of the president in terms of funding and other things.
Free expression of citizens' rights across Nigeria. And it's for these reasons that we support the work of the National Assembly on electoral reform from the Act of 2022, and will continue to stand with Nigeria as those reforms are taken forward. I've been in Nigeria for a year and a half, so not overly experienced, but I've seen in that time that governance here in respect for human rights is a crucial aspect of what civil society is pushing for. That includes free expression, but it also includes the right to safely vote in a free and fair election, giving citizens the right to elect their leaders, free of interference, free of any pressure upon where they cast their vote. The administration of electoral process, as I'm sure you will agree, is an essential component of that picture. Without credible elections and a reputation for protecting the rights of voters and citizens, no free society can flourish in its democratic governance.
The old hands are elevated so that we will not have a new person just coming in for election. Probably part of the existing commissioners are appointed to become the chairman. I think that's one of the areas we can start advocacy on, because if you have been part of the team, so there won't be anything new to you. So it wouldn't matter whenever you get elevated to become the chairman. So I think this is one of the areas that maybe we can start looking at, because that will give ample time for anybody who becomes the chairman not to be new in the system and be able to catch up with whatever they are doing. I think that could be included in your discussion.